Sorry, Derek. I gotta get hydrated. I gotta get Schick 5 Quattro hydrated. Best a man can get.
Oh, Jesus.
Schick Hydro for men.
Your grandpa only had one razor, and he looked handsome as hell.
Your grandpa had only one razor, and it was also a sword, because your grandpa was a pirate.
Jesus Christ.
You thought
Are you kidding me right now?
thought I was going to say Civil War veteran, huh? Nope, he's older than that.
Oh,
1600s, bitch.
But he always tells me he's 29.
He meant 290. Grandpa's old. He can't do numbers
shit.
anymore. I want to get so old that I just go, I'm just done with numbers now. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
Be like, sir, that'll be $5.82. Ah, fuck it. They're like hundreds at him. Sir, you only need to give me 100.
I don't
Just
know
give me
the
my
value
change.
money.
Yeah, I don't value money. I value like my life. Because when you die, it's not your money anymore. It's just the money. That's a
Exactly.
Louis C.K. joke.
Oh.
You probably heard that before, right?
No.
He's like, I'm not going to leave shit to my kids. I'm going to spend it all. I'm terrible with money anyway. And he's just like, because it's the money. You're supposed to spend it. It's not your money. It's the money.
Use it when you need it.
Fuck you, Terry.
Days away and we're still killing it.
I'm just going to pretend Scott is playing on a video game. He could play a video game while we're doing this, actually.
That man over there is playing Galaga. Welcome to the good, the bad, and the bloody. I'm Derek Brown.
I'm Cody Bowden.
And live from...
New York. It's Saturday night.
Oh.
Wait, hold on a sec.
It's Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday. Don't tell people what day it is, actually. That's a bad idea.
You started it.
No, I didn't. Well, I may have started it, but I'm going to finish it. Anyway, we are in our friend's abode. He's testing out some of his recording equipment. As you'll see on the Facebook page, we'll post a few photos. It's not much different than our setup, except for the fact that he's got a little bit better setup, more comfortable chairs, a bigger table, and 2 microphones.
Yes.
So in a lot of ways, it's exactly not the same.
Yep.
It is exactly different.
It's what we were originally going to do way back in January when I bought a microphone, but then I bought the wrong one because
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I got to get a new one so I can give you my old one so we can both have microphones.
And also, this tray is brown, not beige like
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah, I'm kind of not feeling it.
The vibes, man. The vibes. The vibes, they are a-changing.
Scott's just throwing his hands up like, what do you want me to do about it? I'm sorry, Scott. We appreciate this. This is nice.
We love you.
We love you, Scott.
Consensually.
Oh. Fuck you guys. Okay. Alrighty. So we probably confused a lot of you guys if you were actually giving a shit about which movies we were going to watch. Because last week we were going to review funny games for this week.
Yes.
And I shouldn't say week. We've been on hiatus, spring break, whatever. What are you going to do?
Cancun was sure fun,
Yeah,
I bet. I wasn't there.
Cancun 2015. What are you going to do? Sue us? Okay. So, please don't sue.
We have no legal defense.
Yeah. No, none at all. But we said we were going to review funny games. We didn't at all because a brand new horror movie came out called It Follows.
It follows the one that's been driving me banana sandwich.
Yes. And Derek mentioned on the last episode that he wasn't sure if this movie was coming out at all. Turns out it came out the day after.
Yes.
After he said all that stuff.
Because I'm terrible. First, the freaking ghost dimension. I
Yeah.
get 6 months off.
But you know what, though? Nobody seems to mind. They don't seem to mind.
No one gives a shit.
No, as long as we're reviewing a movie, they just kind of want to hear us talk, and that's cool. We appreciate that. But this movie, we got to talk about this movie.
Yes.
I don't even have any questions for you beforehand. This movie has kept me up at night. It was crazy.
Ooh.
And there's a lot of things I picked up on, and a lot of things I looked at after watching the movie that I would like to just mention and talk about. But before that, Derek, how was your week? Because it has been an entire week that we've kind of just, been doing our own thing.
You
And
told me there weren't going to be any questions. God, I'm getting sweaty.
I lied.
No, it was fine. Spent the weekend at Autumn's.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my.
It was fun.
I spent the weekend at Bernie's.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Are you going to be charged with murder?
maybe. Well, I got an idea, though. I'm going to put sunglasses on him and walk him around. We'll see how that goes.
That won't hurt.
No.
Can you believe there was a sequel to that?
Yeah.
How does that work?
The same dead guy?
I don't know.
He's just rotting by now.
By then it's a skeleton, and that's way too spooky for me.
I want that to be like at the end of the first, like in the beginning of the second movie, just like 9 months later, and it's just this like rotting corpse.
That'd be terrible.
It'd be great though. I'd watch it. Anyway, yeah, I didn't really do anything myself. We just kind of been pushing back the date for when we're doing this, and this is a casual thing anyway, so we shouldn't get too worked up about it anyway.
Yeah.
But
it's not like, fuck, we missed the deadline.
Yeah, but if you were wanting an episode this week, sorry.
That's a goddamn shame.
Yeah, too bad. That's too bad.
This is a movie worth returning from a hiatus for.
Oh my goodness. Oh yes. So Derek, give us some background on this movie.
So, last week I said that it was made by the same guys as You're Next.
Yes.
I was a dirty liar.
You son of a bitch.
Only because You're Next and The Guest are made by the same people. And the girl from this movie is also in The Guest. So I just made the jump like, all right.
I figured that this was some like independent kind of art house kind of thing.
It is. This guy's only made like 3 films.
Okay,
this being his third.
Because it didn't seem like a movie that, upon watching it, I would see at a movie theater. This seemed like something I would see at like Sunset, or like Sundance.
Yeah.
Not Sunset. What the hell?
Or even the Flicks Theater downtown, because that's all like independent shit.
Something kind of obscure, not really like,
or even video on demand.
Yeah. Yeah. Netflix, maybe. Like straight to Netflix. And that's purely because of the soundtrack, I think. The soundtrack has a lot to do with my feelings toward that. This movie, it branded itself as the scariest movie in years. Yeah, I don't know. It was really scary, I guess, but conceptually, you know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of moments we laughed at this movie.
The execution was questionable.
That reminds me, speaking of advertisements for movies coming out, what's that one movie that's coming out? Because they said, 1999, there's The Blair Witch. 2009, there's Paranormal Activity.
Oh.
And now there's something. I was hoping you would know, but that's not important. What is important is I think this is kind of the next step in like horror movies.
Whoa.
And I'll explain why. Not because it was like radically different, but because it was less about jumping at you and more about like a concept.
Subtly fucking with your brain.
Yeah. It's really more about mental fortitude. Like how much can you like stand? Like if you put yourself in the shoes of these characters, how long would you be sane? What would you do to like, fight this? It's really interesting.
It's the sexiest psychological horror film ever.
In a while. Yeah, quite a while. Oh, yeah, it is technically the sexiest. Yes, for sure.
We're
going to talk about that too.
Which is really weird, because here's the plot to It Follows.
Yes, let's talk about it.
There's a girl, meets a boy, they seem to hit it off, and then all of a sudden, the guy rapes her.
Well, they have consensual sex.
At first. And then it turns into rape. Later, this round 2.
By technicality, I guess. And then there's basically this creature. It doesn't really...
This boogeyman, a demon.
Yeah, it's just... It's a thing. It's a thing. But...
It's an idea.
It can be passed on from person to person. There's only one of it, but if you have it, if you've been past this thing, it'll follow you and kill you.
It will follow you and it will kill you.
Yes, and the thing is, only you can see it. The people that have had it before can see it, and it does not stop. It never stops.
And it always casually walks.
Yeah,
that's the worst bit.
That was one of the scariest bits.
Yeah,
when the guy said it only walks. It's slow, but it's not stupid. And he's like, and just because it walks doesn't mean it'll stop. It does not stop. So thinking about that, that plays in a lot because they drive around a lot just trying to buy time because that's all you can do with something that never stops.
Yeah.
It's just buy time. You can probably take a boat across the Atlantic and it'd probably just walk under the water. It can swim. It's shown itself to
just
swim.
Walking in the Marianas Trench, just like, what's up, sharks?
They can't see him.
Hey, Davy Jones.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
How's your locker? Smelly.
So this movie was interesting. So I want to talk about this first. I was looking up the ratings of this movie because I wasn't quite sure how I would
really high.
Yeah, but this is the weird thing because I was thinking about it and I didn't know how I felt about the movie. At first I thought it was really stupid, but then I thought about it. I had a nightmare. This movie actually gave me a nightmare.
Oh man!
And it was actually really hard for me to.
I thought you were just trying to be funny on the phone, man.
No, I literally had trouble sleeping this night, the night when I saw that movie, and then I thought about it some more, and I put a lot of things I thought were dumb aside, and the way that this was encapsulated perfectly, in my opinion, was on Rotten Tomatoes. Because on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 94% rating from the critics, but the people, you know, like if they like it or dislike it, it has a 60% rating. Because that's kind of almost exactly how I looked at this. Because, you know, I thought the movie was all right as like a did I like it, you know? But then as a movie...
But technically, it's like really good.
Yeah, it's really good at what it does. But how it does it is all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could have been crazy good, but it's... I don't know. It's very confusing. It's definitely an artistic movie, you know? Let's start talking about the movie itself. I think we should jump into this.
First shot,
Yes.
technically beautiful, is one continuous shot of this girl running from her house, screaming, very frantic,
Yeah.
in the highest heels I've seen.
Yeah, she's wearing full-on 3-inch stilettos.
Yeah, just hooker heels.
Yeah.
I'm not saying your daughter's a whore. I'm just pointing out facts. You know, kind of things like that. Torn up, kind of loose shirt.
Yeah, like tank top, like
Just-
shorts.
Like, is she even wearing shorts? I thought she was in her underwear.
She might be in
But
like
then
boy
again,
shorts, so...
We
yeah.
saw this too long ago.
Yeah, that's true. We did watch it a few days ago. But I was really impressed with this woman because you don't know anything about what's happening or who she is, but she's running around in heels like crazy well.
Yeah.
Running on grass, like, you know, taking like jumping curbs and stuff. Straight up sprinting in these heels.
And it just follows her in a full 360-degree spin
Yeah.
from where the camera is. And I was like, wow, not broken up at all. That's impressive.
And it just kind of looks like she's running in a big circle, like something's like following her that no one else can see, which is true. Something
From the house. And she just keeps looking at the house going, ah. And then finally turns back because she hears, honey, what's wrong? Dad?
Yeah.
Oh God, you know, runs back inside, and then a few seconds later runs back outside with car keys and drives off.
Yeah. And the dad's just like, what the hell's the matter with you? You know, why are you acting so crazy? And she's just like, you know, just fucking driving a million miles an hour, you know, really hauling ass. And then she stops at a beach and she kind of just like lets the car run. And then she's sitting on the beach, like letting the waves kind of crash against her.
Yeah, the waves on her back and the headlights from the car on her front.
Yeah.
Which again was an awesome looking shot.
Yeah, yeah. And then she pretty much gets a phone call from her dad, and she picks up her cell phone and just tells him that she's sorry about being a shit sometimes. I think that's actually what she said. She's like, I'm sorry I'm such a shit sometimes.
But I love you.
You know, it's like, I love you. I always loved you, you know. And her dad's like, what? And she's like, bye. And she hangs up the phone. That's when you realize that she's just waiting for this thing to kill her. And then next thing you know, it opens up with, you know, cuts to a scene where it's daytime now, and she's mangled on the beach, dead.
Yeah, we were on the beach, and we were just dead.
Down on the beach.
Oh, that was gruesome looking, too.
It was. She's like sprawled out like a starfish, and her like leg is
broken in 3 places.
Yeah. Her like thighs laying on the ground, but her like knee is like cracked up. I don't know. It's fucking.
Oh, it was gross, man.
Yeah.
That was kind of hard to look at.
Really?
And I've seen so many scary movies.
That reminded me of that NBA player who like landed on his like leg wrong, and his like his calf, his like lower leg bones like snapped. Did you ever see that photo?
No.
Oh man, it was so gross, and it was like the biggest injury of like last year. I think it was last season. Well, technically the Final Four's stuff going on right now, so last season. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, it was so gross. And the bone stuck right out, and you could see everything. I actually had it for my Facebook cover profile, you know, profile cover for a long time. And people would go, "Oh my God, Cody, I have to see that every time I go to your profile." And then I'd say, "Why the fuck are you on my profile?"
Yeah.
That's creepy as fuck.
Just message me, man.
Yeah, Jesus, you don't need to
Keep this
be on my
casual.
page. Yeah, seriously. Keep it casual. Well, it was always like girls, you know, because girls like to do that. They go on people's profiles.
All that really watches girls.
Girls. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, so
after that,
anyways, yes.
we open up on the main character.
Yeah.
Right? J.
Yep.
That was the letter, right?
Was it K or J? J-K. Yeah, so J, this fairly, I don't know, she looks like she's high school, right?
Either almost gonna graduate or just starting college.
Barely 18-year-old, barely legal blondie. Wait a second. She looks like Chloe Moretz, you know?
Yeah, a little bit.
Hit girl. That's kind of what I got from
I
her.
know her too.
I know who you're talking about. But anyway, so
From Let Me In.
Yeah.
That's where I first saw her. I was like, oh.
Yeah, me too.
Cool.
You know, everyone said that movie was like amazing. I watched Let Me In. I didn't think it was that great.
I wouldn't say amazing. I'd say good.
Yeah, I was like, this is fucking mind.
It's one of my favorite vampire flicks I've seen.
Mine's Twilight. Don't laugh at me. Quit yelling at me, Kelly. Okay, so, so it shows a blonde girl, and she's just fucking around in the pool, you know, doing pool-related activities. Little boys from across the, street are, like, looking over the gate watching her, and she's like, I can see you. She doesn't talk like that, but, And
well, can you blame them?
Yeah, the kids are like, what happened with you? Surprised we're not taking pictures.
I was like that when I was 20.
Yeah. And then this is where, yeah, exactly. Spying on the high school neighbor kids. But this is where the fuckery happens. She goes inside, puts on a towel or whatever, because her sister comes out and says, hey, I've got Pete over here, we're all hanging out, whatever. And she's like, all right, I'll go inside and shit. I'm done wafting in this pool. What is she doing in the fucking pool? She's literally just like waving around in it.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
I do that kind of stuff when I'm in the pool.
But
I don't really swim around, splash, cannonball.
Some creepy, I don't know. I guess so, because it's just her,
Yeah.
But why is she in the fucking pool,
It's
probably
hot outside.
Really good. It looked like fall the whole time. I don't know, though.
Who gives a shit?
So she goes inside, puts on a towel, and this is where, in my opinion, things are just, fucking confusing as fuck, because this is the biggest what the fuck moment in the movie, in my opinion, because this is how you'll get a feel for how the theme is. So they're all watching this really, really old, 60s horror movie on, an old school boob tube black and white TV.
I want to see that movie, too. Yeah. I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, it looked really funny. But this wasn't even a CRT television. This thing was old. I mean, really old.
Even old for your grandma.
Yeah, and then you go, oh man, this movie's in the 50s or some crap. But then you think about it, you're like, wasn't there a Prius in the beginning? And then then there's her other sister's on the couch, and she has this compact that's shaped like a clamshell.
Yeah.
And then she you see what she's looking at, and it's like a Kindle.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking LED smartphone screen on her shell, and it's what year is it?
Yeah, I was very confused.
But I read a lot of critics that reviewed this that said it gives it an otherworldly atmosphere. I call bullshit on that.
I would say it's a lot like Clarence in a way.
Yeah.
The show, because it has Guitar Hero shit in it from now.
Yeah.
Ish, and then it also has stuff from when we were growing up as kids.
Yeah, that's how regular show is too.
It's very weird. So this movie seems to take a page out of kids' cartoons.
Yeah, seriously, something like that. Trying to give it a timeless feel, but just being confusing in the end.
It's jarring.
There are other ways to make this timeless. You do not have things kids do in the 80s in a movie now and expect it to be timeless. Very few horror movies in the 80s are timeless as it is. So,
yeah.
Bad move. Directing wise, that's a bad move. That was really, I don't know.
We're not hipsters. Value. We wouldn't understand.
Yeah, there's no value artistically. It didn't matter that the kids watched boob tube TV. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. Because you know what the director probably did? He's like, yeah, I want to get that really creepy poltergeist feel. I want to be really old, 1950s. There's a lot of mystery in that era.
Well, what kind of movie do you want to throw on? Who gives a shit?
Yeah. Oh, and to make it modern at the same time, why don't we give her a Kindle? And it's is he just throwing this he's just pulling it out of his ass, I swear. So yeah, that bothered me. But this is where you meet Jay's two sisters and Pete, who is the guy that they grew up around, and they're all the same age pretty much, really. I would honestly have to guess that Jay's the oldest.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I'd say so.
And she pretty much explains that she's gonna go on a date later, There's this guy. Don't really know his name. His name is whatever.
I forget.
Yeah, because later if you find out his real name is Jeff.
Oh, that's right.
Because he's using a fake name. So that's why I didn't really remember it. But they're all talking around, and then she goes and pretty much gets ready for it. And this is also a really freaky scene because she's standing in front of this mirror with a bunch of candles lit up, and she just looks like I don't know. It just looks like some weird cult shit. You know,
It looks like a shot-for-shot kind of remake of a 1970s kind of scene in a film. And I just watched Prom Night last night, the original one from like 70-something.
Is that what it reminded you of?
Yeah.
It reminded me
Which
of
is
some-
weird, because I had never seen that movie until just last night. So It Follows reminded me of a movie I didn't even see yet.
Oh, wow. It reminded me of, like, something I'd see in Ghost or something, where she's just, like, staring at a mirror, like, putting on lipstick. You know, and Patrick Swayze walks up behind her and just grabs her breasts.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh.
I'm too young for you. And then he just goes, I'll come back.
He floats away.
I'll find Demi Moore.
Oh, my. Tell me more, tell me more. So she goes and meets this guy at the movie theaters, and they're standing in line. It pretty much jumps right to this. Which
And
I'm
they're
glad
watching an old film.
Yeah. I'm glad that this movie jumps around like that, because I don't need to know, like, I don't need to see them get picked up from the car. I don't want to see them, like, drive over to the fucking theater, you know? That's just a waste of my time. I'm like, movie?
Yeah.
You're wasting my time.
Show me only things that are important to me.
Yeah. Like, topless women and baseball. Anyway, apple pie,
Yes.
wrestling.
All that stuff.
Yeah, just kidding. But so they're standing in line, really bored. He looks like he's not having a good time, but at the same time, he looks like he's really paranoid, like kind of looking around.
He's
And-
just buying time.
Exactly.
Oh.
Oh my. And she says, "Hey, you want to play this game?"
Yeah, that weird game.
Yeah. The what did she call it? Do you
Something
know?
like Trading Places.
Trading Places, the trading game, something like
Yeah.
that. So
You got to look around wherever you are
yeah,
and then pick out somebody and don't tell the other person you're playing with, whoever that person is, and they have to guess what person you picked, and it has to be someone you'd like to trade places with,
yeah.
either physically, mentally, what have you.
Uh-huh.
And so I guess if we were playing this game, it'd be real easy to pick because there's only just the three of us.
But I have to trade places.
Yeah.
Who would you pick, me or Scott?
Oh man. I don't know. He doesn't look like he has to do anything. I'd rather be doing that.
Oh yeah, you'd rather be the guy with the headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Look at that.
We all want to be like Scott. Oh man, he's doing some weird hand stuff.
I wish I could dance like that.
We'll edit that out. So,
yeah.
man, throwing up gang signs. Oh shit.
Weird kind of thing that the guy says when he plays a game. He wants to be this kid that they see in the theater.
Yeah, she's guessing like this guy that's making out by the door
with a girl that's, I guess, to her hotter than her,
Yeah,
but
and she's-
let's face it, that girl is not.
pretty cute, and she's like, "Well, who is it then?" He's like, "I want to be that little boy." And this is kind of some weird foreshadowing because he's like,
No responsibility.
yeah, he doesn't have to worry about anything. You know, everything's taken care of. You know, he's got it made. And she's like, "Oh, that's cool." And then they end up sitting in the theater, and what the fuck movie? This is another what the fuck. There's like an guy playing the organ in the corner of the theater.
Yeah.
Like, bam, 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 really
I don't know what
creepy.
small town does this. We live in Idaho, people, and nobody does that shit around here.
They're like trying to be from like
Nebraska.
Like that's like they have like shit from the 50s, like the TVs, and they have like stuff from like the future with the Kindle compact, and then they've got like this thing from like the fucking 1920s, you know?
Yeah.
But they're all wearing modern clothes, like stuff you'd see now. And then so she's like, "Guess who I want to be?" And he's like looking around, and he looks in the very back of the theater and says, "How about that woman with the yellow dress?" And she looks back there, and she's like, "I don't see anyone with the yellow dress."
And he just like gets really like pale face.
Yeah, and he's
he
like,
goes,
"Right by the door. You don't see her?" And she goes, "No." And he says, "We have to go. Can we go? We gotta go."
Yeah, and that was kind of spooky.
Yeah. It was like, what? How come she can't see this woman? Who is this woman? You know?
Who is that woman in the yellow dress?
Curious George. That man in the yellow hat.
No.
What yellow hat? The one with the monkey. No, that would have been too good. So they're like leaving, and then they just pretty much get in his car, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
And then they just go way out
To this
a dilapidated like
apartment complex.
Yeah,
or parking garage, whatever it was.
It kind of looks like both.
It looks like the place I'm working at currently.
Yeah, jump. Yeah.
It's under construction. Perfect.
Exactly. But this place is like decommissioned. It's like abandoned for sure.
Oh yeah.
And they're having sex in his car. And let me tell you, the sex scenes in this movie are like too real. It's just like awkward thrusting. There's like no other camera angles, you know?
Nope.
Nothing.
It's just one angle. All right, get fucking, said Mr. Director.
Yeah, I think they actually had sex. I'm serious. Like
it was way too real. He pulled it. He pulled all the sex scene ideas from his own personal diary. I bet.
Maybe.
Just dear diary, jackpot.
Oh gosh, yeah. So they're doing stuff, and then he opens the doors so they can let the stank out, or God knows what. And she's like laying on her stomach, like in the back seat, just kind of like playing with this flower that's on the ground.
That's growing out from the pavement.
Yeah,
which is a cool shot too.
Yeah. And she says some bullshit about how when she was a kid, something blah blah. Who gives a fuck?
She always dreamed about the time she would do something. I don't know.
I don't fucking.
She's talking about her dreams from when she was a kid.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
And then the mood is broken by him all of a sudden just chloroform.
Yeah, he like comes out of nowhere and like he's like kissing her neck and like laying on top of her, but then he like pulls out a chloroform rag that he got from the trunk and just starts choking her, which by the way
looked very real.
Oh no, it didn't.
No,
you didn't see like rag like lift off of her face like 3 times.
I've seen that in a lot of films though. Maybe he just didn't want to do it.
Yeah,
he wasn't determined enough.
It was bad acting. I was like, oh my god, really?
But then
also,
again,
not to mention chloroform wouldn't even really knock you out, you know? Come on,
not
movie.
right away.
No, you have a better chance of dying from it than getting knocked out, actually.
Whoa.
Yeah, dude, there's been... I don't even know where it started, but I looked this up for reasons. No, my friend was telling me how there was, like, how you could just get your hands on, like, chloroform, and I was like, really? And I went on Amazon, and they have this type of chloroform, but it's not, like, anything you should use for like anesthesia. God. I mean, they still use it in some anesthesia as far as I know, but it's only like rare cases where they're like allergic to other things, you know, and it shouldn't be used too often because it's kind of like, it's like Oxycontin for your lungs.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. You could easily die from it. And doing the rag thing would take like minutes. It did take a while in this scene though, actually. So, all right. I give kudos for realism there.
Because like in most movies, including The Iron Giant,
yeah, it
just happens in seconds. Like as soon as it touches the mouth, it's just, all right.
Yeah. And that's why I'm saying people need to realize that it's not bullshit, or it's all bullshit what you see, and you probably should not try it, even as a joke. Like maybe you're trying to like
knock yourself out for some reason,
or like prank your frat bros or whatever. Not only will it not work, but it's super dangerous.
I don't think we should be the people you hear this from,
yeah.
But I'll say it anyway. Movies are fucking bullshit.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know if you've realized this by now. There are no Avengers.
Oh, what?
And there are no chloroform knocking out in seconds.
If it did knock you out in a second, then I guarantee you there would be a lot more rape.
Yeah. And
dead people. And theft. And pretty much everything involving knocking out.
Yep.
Boxing matches would just cover their gloves in chloroform.
Yeah, just punch him in the face and then be like, "Oh, what was that on your glove?"
Hit him in the nose, Rocky. Ooh, I covered your gloves in chloroform.
The Bally.
He like rubs his face before he starts, knocks himself out.
Just. Oh God.
Where are we going with this? So anyway, he drugs her. And he ties her up to a wheelchair and puts her in this really open area inside of this building. And he's looking around with his flashlight as she's waking up.
Yeah, and it's all like a static shot from where she's sitting.
Yeah.
So like the camera's maybe 2 or 3 feet in front of her, maybe just on the outside of her legs.
Yeah.
And it's just focusing on her, but you see the guy just walking in very linear. Screw it.
He's
walking around in very straight lines, but like frantic.
He's looking out for something. And then she wakes up and he goes, "Okay, good, you're awake. I'm not going to hurt you." I'm
not going to hurt you, Jake. Come on.
Yeah. And she's like, "Get me out. What's happening?" And then he starts explaining what is the most important thing for her to hear, but she's not going to believe him, obviously.
Yeah,
but he starts explaining. He's like, "Okay, there's this thing. It's going to follow you. It doesn't stop. It only walks, but it's not dumb,
Yeah.
And no one else can see it but you and people that can see it before, And then he pretty much like goes, "Oh, there it is." And there's this like naked woman walking up to the building. And then it comes in there and he's like, "Do you see her? Do you see her?" And she's like, "Who the fuck is that?" This like completely naked woman just walking toward me. And then he like runs over to this woman and he's standing on her side, but instead of turning to him, she just keeps walking toward her.
Doesn't even bat an eye at him.
And he's like, it worked. Oh, fuck, right?
Yeah. And then he goes and grabs Jay in the wheelchair and starts moving her, and the camera shifts back to that position, and the whole time that he's like wheeling her off frantically, it's just fixed on her.
Yeah, it's still following them even though they're like leaving the building.
Like roller coaster camera, you know?
And he pretty much explains at the same time that that you can get rid of it. All you have to do is have sex with someone. And he's like, it should be easier for you. You're a girl, right?
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And, which is it's true, though,
Yeah.
So anyway, they get in the car. Well, he throws her in the car, and they just start peeling off. And then it cuts to, this is some more, like, timeless bullshit. The kids are in the front of the fucking porch, like, drinking, like, weird beer soda. And they're playing, like, Go Fish on, like, a milk crate in their porch. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what? No, what time is this, What year is it?
When are we?
Yeah, I know. When are we? And so they see his car pull up, and then they go, oh, look, hey, is everything all right? And he, like, gets out of the car, opens the back seat, and goes, all you got to do is have sex with someone, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you, And then he, like, pulls her out of the car and, like, leaves her on the ground.
All the best. Mazel tov. Drives off.
So she's in her underwear on the middle of the street, and they're like, oh, God, what happened? And then
cops show up.
To go through things, yeah. So, the cops show up, and they're like, well, was it consensual? And she's like, yeah. He didn't rape me. They're like, well, that's fucking crazy. We'll find him. Blah, blah, blah. We'll find him. And then, she's freaking out about this thing. And she's like, there was a lady, and trying to explain to the cops. And the cops are like, okay, weird. So I can't remember directly what happens after that.
One of the neighbors who becomes kind of a main character.
Yeah.
Like, looks out the window. He lives with his mother. We're not going to put anything against him. He's probably 18 as well.
Poor guy, yeah.
And he goes over there. He's just like, hey, is everything all right? They're like, yeah, I guess, whatever.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he's like, oh, well, if you need anything, I'm right next door. They're like, all right, we know. I can't remember.
Yeah, I really don't
what
know.
happened after that.
But it's just general, like, like a suspense building where it's just scenes of her just kind of freaking out.
They try to find the dude, Jeff.
Yeah, I can't remember if this was when they hear about this before or afterward.
Right before they try to find him, she starts seeing the thing.
Yeah.
Well, not the thing. Let's not call it the thing, or let's not call it either. Because the clown.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, what should we call it?
The follower.
The follower. Okay. The follower.
I
but
guess.
What's the first time she sees it? That's all I'm trying to figure out.
That night.
That night? As what?
Just some woman, I think.
I don't...
Because she, like, hears a bunch of weird noise. She's like, oh, God, what's going on? She looks around. Person shows up. She starts screaming. Everybody's like, oh, what's going on? And she's like, it's in the house. Whatever. And
are you sure?
They're like, are you...
What about the scene with the school? Wasn't that...
That was after that.
Was it?
Because they went to go find him in the yearbook and shit.
No. Not that school. When she's in class.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was first. See, I can't remember what the first time she sees this monster.
The school, let's say that.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, she's trying to, like, recover, basically, from
They're
her
reading poetry
weird
in
rape.
class.
Yeah. And then she looks out the window, and all the way across campus, there's this really old woman just walking toward her.
From,
like,
so far away that you can't even really register.
Yeah, making, like, a straight line toward her. And she's, like, noticing that. And then she's, like, really close to school, and she's like, oh, God. So she packs up her stuff and starts walking, like, she's, like, leaves class and starts walking down the hallways. And then, as she's, like, leaving for the front door, the old woman turns around this corner, and she's like, oh, fuck, she was, like, in the same hallway as me. And then she's like, hello, to the old woman.
What do you want? And other people are like, who the fuck are you talking to?
Yeah, these two girls are like, yeah.
You dumb blonde bitch.
Are you talking to me? You're just yelling at the air. And she starts running. And that's when, that night, she says, I gotta, I need protection. She runs to the ice cream parlor. And that's where she meets
where her friends work.
Yeah, her friend Paul and her sister.
No, Pete.
Pete. It was Pete. Why did I say Paul? You know why I said Paul? Because he looks like He looks like Paul from the Continue show.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's not because I sung Paul Simon after the movie.
That too.
Or anything. Because he was like, I'll protect you. And I was like, I can be your bodyguard. And you can call me Al.
Yeah, pretty much. So they're talking and it's like, it'll be fine. I'll spend the night over there. And then they look at Paul and he's just like, or Pete. And then Pete's like, I'm not going to do any weird butt stuff. Jeez, we're friends before, And that's when you realize, they had a thing, or something.
Or at least he had a thing for her.
Yeah, when they were kids,
still
maybe,
does.
right? So, he spends the night there, and they're all watching the doors and stuff and whatnot. And, she ends up not being able to sleep in her room, so she goes down to talk to Pete. And they're sitting on the same couch, and he's like, you were my first kiss. And she's like, I was yours too. And you're like, oh, wow, that's some deep shit.
Which is crazy, because that whole scene, I was thinking she was going to have her way with him.
Yeah.
And just quickly pass it off.
I didn't think that, because she did not know what was happening. She either didn't listen or she didn't put together what was happening. Is that right?
It was very crazy. Like, that's instantly what I got in my head. I was like, oh.
Yeah. So then they hear, like, the window breaking in the kitchen, and she's like, what the heck was that? And Pete's like, I'm going to run upstairs and grab, like, your sisters or whatever. And she's like, all right, I guess I'll investigate. What the fuck? I'm the one that's in danger here.
Yeah, the only one in danger.
Yeah, so she looks into the kitchen, and there's this, like, this weird, like, prostitute-looking woman who's, like, almost completely naked, like, wearing, like, one sock, and she's just, like, urinating all over the floor. And
just the worst.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, don't you hate it when that happens? Yeah. And I'm just like, what the fuck?
I hate those fucking people, man.
And she starts screaming. And
Worst
crying.
thing since The Exorcist, I'll tell you what.
Yeah. So she's screaming and crying. She's scared, And then I think she gets in the car and just, like, drives to the park. Yeah, that's what she does.
Yeah.
She runs out of the house, gets into her car, drives to the park. She's swinging on the swing sets. And then all of her sisters and Pete show up, and they're like, oh, God, you ran off to the park. You're crazy. You're nuts. Oh, no, she didn't drive. She rode her bike. That's what it was. She rode her bike over there. And they were running to catch up with her. And then that's when Mr. Handsome across the street, that's his name.
Guy next door.
You're next. He pulls up in his car, and he's just like, everything's all right. And they're like, yeah. So he's like, okay, whatever. And he starts leaving, like, where are you going? He's like, I got to get my car. Someone's got to drive you home, So.
Oh, man.
Another day goes by, pretty much. And this is the second night where she... Pretty much, this is just, like, scares, like, hypothetical situations of how this could be scary, is what this movie is consisting of. And in this night, she has her, like, door locked, her sister's with her, Everyone's in her room. And then there's... I don't know, she sees someone, like, walk into her house or something.
This really tall man.
Yeah, something, yeah.
Is what this follower now takes the form as.
Because it can look like anyone, either someone she knows. Oh, that's an important part of this that we missed.
They were like, it can be a complete stranger. It can be a loved one.
Yeah.
It is not warm. It is not safe.
It is not mother. But I think what's scary about that is that it chooses not to be people that she knows.
Not quite yet.
Yeah, it's only like once someone that she knows, or twice technically, someone that she knows. 3 times actually.
Somebody that she used to know, yeah.
Yeah. Which is really weird. Somebody that I used to know. So she, hears like banging on the door, and it's like, don't let it in. And then it's like, it's just me, Miranda or whatever. And she's like, oh, okay, let her in. And she walks in. She's like, geez, guys, why wouldn't you let me in? And then right behind her, this thing is just standing there, and it like follows into the room with her.
Yeah, it's so tall that it has to bend down in the doorway.
Yeah. And so,
like, pardon me.
Jay's like, oh, fuck, he's right there. He's in the fucking room. And everyone's like, what? And this thing's like just coming after her, and she pretty much just jumps out the goddamn window.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Just like Aaron and You're Next.
Yeah, so everyone's just like, Jay's crazy. Hooch is crazy.
Blondes, am I right?
Yeah. But, then they say, let's just get away for a while, So the neighbor guy drives him, like, way off to the beach,
Yeah, this, like, lake house or something.
Yeah.
Little shack on the beach.
Yeah, and this is, like, a crazy scene, too, So they're getting a lot of distance by driving over here. So they're all just kind of playing on the beach, He finds a revolver that they had. He like loads it up and he's like, okay, we got a gun here too in case anything happens. So yeah, they're just kind of laying on the beach, lounging around, hanging out, and Jay's still kind of uptight, wrapped in a towel and whatnot.
Sitting on the beach chair.
Sitting on the beach. And then out from the woods, you just see this thing walking toward her, and it looks just like her younger sister. And Jay's back is turned to this thing, though. But everyone's still talking to Jay. They can't see this thing.
Yeah.
So the only person that can see it...
So it's not like, it's right behind you,
yeah.
Run!
The only person that can see it is Jay, but her back is turned. And then all of a sudden, Jay's hair just starts like lifting up. And everyone's like, what the fuck? And then she starts getting picked up out of her chair. Yeah. And then they all start freaking out like, what the fuck is grabbing her, And then Pete swings a chair and it
smashes it right across the thing's back.
It breaks in midair, and then it smacks him across the beach. He just flies back.
That part killed me, man.
Yeah, you were laughing so hard.
I was eating Shockers in the theater, and I choked on this fucking candy. Because, like, he got hit. They show him flying off screen in the same way Scary Movie does, the series. Like, when Tom Ryan hits his fucking little girl with the car door, she just goes, ah! Right off screen, just blink of an eye.
Yeah, exactly.
So that made me go, are you fucking kidding?
I didn't think it was that funny. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. This thing is like, I was more shocked how strong it was. This thing is like a demon,
Yeah.
So then she's running away from it, They all go into like the little shed and they're all like, what the fuck? What is wrong? What the heck was that? What happened? And then the door starts banging and this thing's right outside the door.
They're like, don't worry, can't open doors. And then it blows a hole in the wall.
Oh, shit. Before they get into the shed, I almost forgot. Because Jay's the first one to get to the shed. She grabs a revolver that's in there and starts shooting at this creature, at the thing.
And she shoots one of her sisters.
Well, no, because she's like shooting at this invisible thing, it looks like she's shooting at her family and friend,
Yeah.
Friend. And they're just like, stop shooting. But then it goes to like her perspective, and then you see her shoot it in the neck, and then it drops like a fucking dead sack of potatoes, and then it just gets back up again, and you're just like, oh shit, it can't be stopped,
All aboard the train, no brakes.
No brakes on the kill train. So then, you're right. They close the door. The thing blows open the door, and they're just like, oh fuck, the door just randomly exploded, and this thing...
Which kind of reminded me of the Fright Night remake.
Yeah.
Because they kept the thing about vampires not being able to enter a house unless you invite them in.
Yeah.
So then fucking Colin Farrell as the vampire like blows up the house because he's just like, you can't keep me out of something that won't be there,
Yeah.
Can't keep, you don't have to, there's no such thing as inviting me into a house that's not going to exist. Yeah. Or some shit like that. That was menacing, but I can't remember exactly what he said, but I was just like, of course.
It's very smart. But anyway, so running away again, she gets in a car by herself. Everyone's chasing her down. Like, what? Don't take the car. And she starts driving on this dirt road back home.
Please don't leave us here. And then they drive off and they're like, oh, wait, we're not in danger.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I would have said.
They don't know.
Fuck, don't leave me behind.
Not only do they not know what exactly the situation is, she has not really told them what the guy said to her. Mm-hmm. Well, she kind of did, but no one really believes it,
Of course not.
But now they're questioning it because they just witnessed some shit happen. They're like, what the fuck? How'd the chair break in midair? What was grabbing her? What blew open the door, So she's driving away.
What pitched Pete across the...
Yeah, something hit him and it left a huge mark. So she's driving away in the car that it's the neighbor's car, and she fucking hits a mailbox like 20 feet out and drives right into the cornfield, So she wakes up in the hospital with a broken arm, and they're all just sleeping there, and she's looking around. And then she like looks at the door in her hospital room, and she hears these like footsteps. She's like, oh shit, it followed me here, But then it just turns up a nurse like walking by.
Yeah. Which was a pretty good build of suspense.
And I don't know how it really got to this point, like, because they don't show it. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually she has sex with that neighbor guy, because she's like, you got to believe me. This thing's real.
He's like, I believe you.
He's
and
like,
I want to help you.
Yeah. He's like, I'll help you, if we have sex, all right. All right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, cursed or not, I still get to bang this moderately attractive girl.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing to lose here.
Nothing. So, 3 days go by, and she's like, you haven't seen anything? And he's like, nope, nothing. And they're like, all right, whatever. So they get out of the hospital, and she's still watching her back.
Yeah, which was something that I started thinking like some weird twist was gonna happen. Like, because when they ask him like, "Have you seen anything?" He's just like, "No." It's been 3 days. He's like, "Yeah, weird, right? Well, I gotta go." And like when they say that it's been like 3 days and nothing's happened, it shows this weird look on Pete's face, like he's hiding something. So I thought, oh shit, what if Pete raped her? You know?
And it wasn't like. Oh, shit. Okay.
Like, what if he was just keeping that from everybody?
That'd be weird.
Like, that was the look. See, a lot of people in this movie gave me implied looks that never led to anything.
He was just jealous because he loves her.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she's still watching her back, and this is the scariest scene in the movie, in my opinion. So she's looking out the window, though, because she's still kind of worried. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, she sees this guy walking down the street, and it looks like her neighbor.
Yeah, it looks like guy next door.
Yeah, and she's like, what the fuck? What's he doing walking down the sidewalk? And then he takes a sharp turn and starts walking toward the neighbor's door. And she's like, okay, he's at his front door. And the thing stops, and then it grabs the doorknob and just starts shaking it. And she's like, oh, fuck. That's the thing. That's the creature. So she's like, fuck. So she, like, picks up her phone and starts calling in the other house. And she's like, you gotta answer. Why the fuck aren't you answering, And this is also where the funniest scene happens. Because the thing stops trying to open the door. And it, like, goes down to the side of the window, picks up a brick, and just, like, gently throws it through the window.
Yeah.
And, like, just falls
like how
in.
a drunk man would get into someone's house.
And it just, like, flips into the window. And it's like, oh, my God, that's so stupid.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Knock.
Yeah.
I hear you knocking, but you can't come in. Fine, fuck you, brick.
So now she's like, fuck, there's no other way to get a hold of him. I just got to go in there and stop it before it gets to him.
Or at least get him out.
Yeah, so she jumps through the window, and she goes up the stairs, and she just hears this, like constant, like, knocking on the door.
Mm-hmm.
And she runs to the top of the stairs, and it's his mom. At least she thinks it is at first, just knocking on the door repetitively. And then the mom looks at her, and then looks back at the door and continues knocking. And she's like, oh, shit. 1, it worked. It's not after me anymore. 2, oh, fuck, it's right there.
Yeah.
So then he opens the door, and he's like,
what the fuck, Mom?
What the fuck, Mom? And then she just, like, looks at him and just jumps on him,
Yeah.
And this is a weird thing. This is the only scene you see the monster actually kill anyone. And, like, how the fuck does it do it? Like, what the fuck? It's like grinding on him, and it basically fucks him to death. I don't really know.
Which is still bad because it looks just like his mom. So as far as he knows,
that too.
He got fucked to death by his own mom.
Yeah, how fucking shitty is that?
That's some weird shit.
So then they...
So it went from like the most terrifying scene to a funny scene to a very weird and fucked up scene.
Yeah. Now, I don't remember if the neighbor guy was there when they met Jeff. Was he?
Yes.
So he died after the meeting.
Yes.
Okay. So it's not really important when, but sometime before sometime before this guy gets killed by his own mom, technically, they end up finding this guy, Jeff.
At a different address than he gave to her. Because
they went to the house that he was supposedly lived at, and he had, like, bottles, like, rope tied around, like, the windows.
Which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That gave a very atmospheric thing to this
he was,
film.
like, obviously paranoid of anything getting into his house, or this, rented house. Very smart, He had, like, a lot of open doors, like, little escape routes, This guy could easily get out of this house if this thing came for him. And it's like, oh, man, this guy's a fucking pro, He's been probably running away from this thing for a while,
Mm-hmm.
He has a elaborate system set up. But anyway, so they find the real Jeff by finding a photo of him, and this is like one of his past girlfriends in like a Playboy magazine he had upstairs. And then they use that photo to like, he's wearing a Letterman jacket on it, and they find out what high school it is, and then they go to the high school, and then they find out where he actually lives. And then they have a sit-down talk where that's when Jeff explains everything about it.
There's a kind of cool scene right before that I kind of like. When they're driving away from the school, you see somebody walking straight at the car, and whether it's the follower or not, they never give a care to it. It's just kind of like, all right, well, we got to keep going, but the thing's just walking, or the person's walking straight at the car, so you're like, is that it, or is that not?
You don't know.
It kind of gave like the feeling like zombies in The Walking Dead. Like after a while, you just like don't give a shit.
And that's another reason,
because you're trying to prioritize shit.
That's another thing that's another good reason to be scared of this thing, because Now you cannot be in a crowd. Now you can't be surrounded by people because
Yeah.
you won't be able to tell who it is with that. That's fucking terrifying.
Agoraphobia. You're going to develop that.
Yeah, you're going to have to be alone in order to like escape from this thing. To be able to recognize it, you know?
Like Final Destination and shit. You got to coop yourself up.
Yeah.
You have to go crazy.
So
You want to go nuts?
let's get nuts.
Yeah.
So anyway, Jeff explains everything about, what's happening, and they're like, oh, what a fucking psycho. He's full of shit, But he's not kidding, So now the neighbor guy's dead, and it's back to chasing her, and she knows that, so she takes the fuck off, and she gets way the hell out there, right?
To like the beach again.
Yeah, pretty much. And just, oh yeah, she goes to the beach, and then she's like, she sleeps, no, she goes to like the woods, and she like sleeps on the hood of the car. And then she wakes up and goes to the beach, and she sees these like 3 dudes on a boat, and she's just like, all right, time to start whoring myself out.
She like throws off her clothes and then goes into the water, and then it never shows her fuck these 3 guys, but
yeah,
you like see her driving away, and the cast that she has on her arm from the car wreck is all wet.
Yeah, and
soggy.
it's like, oh Jesus, like that's horrifying that she like basically, just let herself get raped by those 3 dudes.
Yeah.
Just to escape this thing a little longer.
You can't rape the willing, Cody.
Oh my god. I don't think she wanted. She obviously does not want to have sex at this point.
She doesn't want to, but she brought it on.
She could not be in the mood with this thing following you. There's no way. What a buzz.
That's why it is easier for girls, because they can just like
sit there,
go and do it anyway. But guys under that kind of pressure might experience impotence,
Viagra. Pop a few extends, dude. You'll be hard as a rock. Seriously, you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about that stuff, man.
But imagine like a very frantic, sweating guy running into some place like,
with a
I'm going to
boner.
need all your extends and Viagra stat.
I mean, all of it. Have you ever like done like any Viagra challenges or anything?
No.
Like popped it with your friends and see who gets a boner first?
No.
Me neither. I'm just saying. So, and then that buys her some time, but she's aware that, it'll still follow her,
It will follow.
And then this is when Pete's like, okay, all that shit's happened, I want to help too, let me help. And she's like, no, Pete.
I've been wanting to help from the very beginning, Jay.
And she's just like, I don't want you to have sex with me because you're my friend. And he's like, damn,
I don't want you to
friend zoned even with the demons.
Yeah, even in a matter of life and death, let's just stay friends.
Yeah. So she ends up, Pete has an idea. He's like, you trust me? She's like, yeah. So then they go out to the community pool, basically, like the school pool. She's like, well, we've been here since we were kids, big-ass pool. And they put Jay right in the middle of the pool, and they put all this, like, appliances, like, plugged in the walls all around the edge of the pool.
Toasters, TVs, what have you.
And they're going to try to lure the thing into the water, and then she's going to get out, and then they're going to push all this, like, electrical stuff into the water and just shock it to death or something, right?
Which, stupid me didn't realize that's what was going to happen.
Really?
I thought they were going to kill her and then resuscitate her to see if it just like goes away.
Wouldn't
like
they
Null
wanna-
and Void, Final Destination style.
I see. Does that work in Final Destination?
Kind of.
Hell if I know. Everyone dies eventually anyway. But the point is,
Everybody's
this thing,
dying, bitch.
this thing shows up, and like Jeff said, it's slow but not stupid. So it looks at her, and it looks around, and instead of getting in the pool, it like starts walking around and picking up each individual like appliance and just throwing it right at her.
Yeah.
Like at high velocity, like fucking picking up a lamp, 100-mile-an-hour
Dude, it was
lamp ball.
Fucking hardcore, like
Yeah.
Randy Johnson.
Yeah, like she could easily like just fucking split her head open from these appliances and die because he's hitting her so hard with these things.
Yeah.
But one of them lands in the water, and it's like, oh my god, she's gonna die. And it's like, wait, it didn't work. So now not only does the
Because
electric,
it got unplugged.
no, they were still plugged in.
Like several things got unplugged.
Did
when
you
he
notice
was
they
cocking
never
them.
tested to see if the appliances actually worked?
No, they did not.
They didn't because
But
they weren't working. There wasn't any power going to them.
Oh my god.
Because there's one part where the monster is in the pool, but they don't throw any electrical appliances afterward because they know it didn't work. So they're like, oh fuck, it didn't work. So now she's just in the middle of the pool with this thing just hurling
Holy
these like
shit.
toasters at her, and she's like getting fucking wrecked, and everyone's like, oh god. And then Pete pulls out the revolver from earlier and like tries to like figure out where it's standing, and instead of hitting this thing, he like completely like goes past where he's like assuming, and it hits her sister in the leg, So it's like, way to go, Pete. You shot her sister.
Yeah,
you
you
know?
dickhead.
And then the other sister has a smart idea of throwing a towel over it. And then you can actually see the silhouette just floating, like standing there. And he's like, and everyone's like, what the fuck?
That's
there is
pretty spooky,
Yeah,
too.
there is something there. Like, it's just invisible. Like, what the fuck? So he goes up and shoots that thing right in the back of what he assumes is the head. And it falls over into the pool. Still grabs onto her, still fighting her, you know. And then he shoots it again in the head, and she gets out, and they go, is it dead? And she's like, no, probably not. So then, inexplicably, the next scene is Pete and Jay having sex on the couch, and Jay's like, you sure you want to do this? And Pete's like, sure. You know, yeah.
After the whole movie of him like, I want to fuck you.
And he's like, you know, I love you. I'll do anything for you, including taking the monster out, you know. And then it shows them walking.
I'll take it out with my monster dong.
Monster dong, Charlie. So it shows them walking down the street, and they're holding hands.
Oh, isn't that sweet?
And then it cuts to like a front view of them, and there's a guy in a red sweater right behind him, just following him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
what follows? It follows.
It follows. And then that's how the movie ends. And it's like, oh shit. There's a lot of parts in this movie that can't really be talked about just because it's like, not really exposition, like I said, but more atmosphere and suspense, you know, a lot of tension to add up to those big moments. So
does that mean I can't talk about the picture frame?
Oh, go
and
ahead.
also who he took it took the form of at the pool?
Yeah, go ahead with that.
Okay, because that was probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole film. Is when it first comes in, the doors open, whatever, and they're like, "Whoa, is it here?" And she's like, "Yeah." What does it look like? She's like, "I don't want to tell you." And I went, "Oh shit, it's gonna be like this grotesque looking bitch."
Or something.
Green is black, like, but then it shows, and it's just some dude.
Yeah.
And I was just like, "What the fuck, man? I'm getting like teased with this." Yeah. And then in that scene where Pete and Jay, are doing PB and J, it shows a picture frame of young Jay, lowercase J, and her sisters, and the person that the it thing was her dad.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck, that's spooky, man.
Yeah, real spooky.
Your dad's trying to huck a TV at you.
Yeah, and doing a good job at it.
It's like me watching my childhood all over again.
Oh, no, that's really sad, Derek. No.
I'm kidding. It was my mom.
Dad's
anyway.
Really, oh, my. Oh, my. But, yeah. So this movie, I don't know, really, really great. Like I said, it was the concept of this kind of creature, this type of creature, and like what it does and how it does it, that actually gave me some spooks the night I went to bed after watching it, because I was sitting there staring at my door and I was thinking, that would be really scary if anything just walked in, casually walked in.
It could be
this
woman from Costco, or it could be Cameron.
Yeah. How scary would it be if it just walked in and it came directly at me, like didn't stop? I would shit my pants, and I couldn't sleep very well because I was thinking about that. It's the idea of having something casually yet very, very dedicated trying to get you. The Michael Myers effect.
It's like as you put it to me on the phone when you texted me. It's so terrifying that something's gonna it's casually coming to fuck my shit up.
But it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
You know? Just because it's casual doesn't mean it takes a break.
That's so funny. It's casual but dedicated. It's like the average college student.
And that's unlike things that actually kill you, which puts it in the bizarro kind of world, which makes it very scary for us as people, because that's not normal.
Holy shit, this movie touched you.
Well, don't you you understand, right?
Yeah.
That's why I agree with the critics on the ratings in this. At first I thought it was okay, but then thinking about it critically, there's a reason I gave it a higher rating than what I liked it for.
That's amazing.
But Derek, best scene, worst scene?
Best scene? I'd say that opening scene is pretty great. I really like that opening scene. When I read articles about what it was going to be, I went, oh, that sounds interesting at least. Yeah. But then when I saw it in the frame, like actually on screen, I went, oh, this was even better than I expected it to be. Yeah. Because I thought it was going to be like a different kind of one-shot thing. But it impressed me even more than just hearing about it. And then the whole Jay being almost killed by it as her dad. Yeah. That was pretty cool. I really liked that.
Okay.
Can't think of any other scenes, so I guess those would be my two
Okay.
best scenes.
You just don't have any like worst scenes. Just kind of.
I don't have a worst scene. I have a worst
The music.
bit of the yeah.
You hated the music. It sounds like a video game.
The worst bit of the movie was the music.
Yeah, the music was pretty
that was
terrible.
killing me.
Yeah.
Because like it went from this very dreadful music, and dreadful as in good this time.
Yeah.
Dreadful music like Halloween kind of thing, or The Thing. Like it would just have this pulse like, dum dum, dum dum, and then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, very jarring juxtaposition.
Like,
it would go.
Yeah, and it just sounds like it's like a super synth. It's like a shitty video game. And you just go, oh god, I leveled up again. You know?
Yeah. I can't believe leveling up. I got to feel weak and vulnerable when I'm watching these movies.
But it's very hard to explain what that music is like without actually listening to it. I tried to think about what it would sound like if you hadn't heard it before. I can't describe it. It's just it's like a fucking art film. You can tell. It's just weird.
It's trying to combine the Thing's theme song with the strings from Insidious.
Yeah, like an Otherworld.
And you can't do that.
Yeah.
You got to go with either like a very low pulse or a very frenetic.
It's like trying to be like a dream almost. Like a weird dream, you know?
And dreams, as you know, don't make sense.
Yeah, but my favorite scene was, my least favorite scene, I'll tell you, was the 6 minutes of bullshit where the kids are playing this weird-ass unexplained card game on this milk crate on the porch. It was really long, and it was really weird, because
it looked like Old Maid, but I couldn't tell.
Yeah, it was just dumb. It was just a waste of my time, and that's why I didn't like it. But favorite scene is probably going to be when the Thing is in our house for the first time, or I believe the second time, and it's like, open the door, it's just me, and she's like, all right, and the very tall man is right behind her. Mm-hmm. That guy was spooky as fuck.
One other really good scene that I liked was when they're in the movie theater, the whole woman with the yellow dress.
Yeah.
That made me legitimately go, what the fuck?
Why wasn't it walking toward him? Why did it stop there, right?
See, those are things of this movie that don't make sense to me.
Also, this thing, they figure it out. The Thing never talks, so...
like when it's knocking on a door, they're like, "Who is it?" And if you don't answer, well, I guess you're the follower.
Yeah. It's like, it's me, Pete, and she's like, "All right, it's Pete. Open door." So
it's not like, just kidding.
Yeah, Pete and repeat. Anyway, final thoughts, though, Derek.
Well, I'm gonna say that with all that said, like there's a bunch of stuff that didn't make sense to me, like cohesively, like that kind of thing that you just pointed out.
Yeah,
Like sometimes the Thing won't move, but then other times it's always moving.
Yeah.
And then there are moments where they can have like driven maybe like cities apart and it still shows up within minutes, but then they're in the same spot for 3 days.
Yeah.
And it doesn't show up at all.
3 days you can walk a long time.
Yeah. No matter how casual you are about it.
That's a pretty good distance, dude, because if 30 minutes is a mile, holy shit, man. 2 miles in an hour at the very least,
Yeah.
Or at the very most, I suppose. That's insane.
That's maybe
24 times 3, dude. That's hardcore walking, man. That's over 100 fucking miles, How far did they go? I don't know.
The world may never know.
So stupid. Also, this thing can take the form of, like, a really tall person, and even if it's just walking, different stride patterns and different, like, walking steps. Because the old woman, when it was the old woman at one college campus scene, it was very slow. But then another time when it was the neighbor guy, it was walking pretty fast. So that's also stupid. Those are my final thoughts, honestly. Watch this movie. I guarantee it'll give you some chills.
Yeah.
It's actually... You'll think about it when you're done watching it, and it'll scare you. It'll scare you.
This will probably be evident when we give our spooks in a second.
Which is right the fuck now.
But I did not... I know I did not like this movie as much as you like this movie, but I still have recommended it to everybody that I tell it about.
Yeah.
Because there was one time, just a few days ago, I was telling my cousin about it, and I only told him the negative bits, and then I said, go watch it.
Yeah. No. John was like, how was the movie? And I was like, it was weird. It scared me. It'll terrify you, John. He's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, go watch it. I just couldn't explain anything else besides go watch it. So just go watch it.
Yeah, that's all I did.
But
I went, Justin, this movie had bizarro music.
Yeah.
This and this and this disappointed me about it. And then he's like, well, that sounds kind of dumb. And I said, yeah, but you should go watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
And he goes, why? And I said, because you might find it good.
It is good on certain levels. Just because it's...
Technically, it's pretty great.
Yeah.
But
Although the laughable bits are laughable, but who
oh, they're
cares?
so laughable.
Now, Derek, out of Spooks, what do you give this movie?
7.
7 out of 10 Spooks?
Yeah.
Right
What
on.
do you give it out of Spooks?
I give this movie a 9 out of 10 Spooks.
I knew it.
You knew it?
I knew it.
You knew it? Any movie that makes me think this hard, I can't help but respect on some level.
I could tell, like, again, from when you texted me all that shit
Yeah.
that night. I was like, I turned to Autumn and I went, man,
Yeah.
he's going to give this a way higher rating than I am
But
gonna.
it was upon reflection and thinking about
Yeah.
the movie more. Because, like I said, I would have been right in that crowd with Rotten Tomatoes, giving it a 60% out of theaters, but then later, as a critic, giving it a 90, you know? I was, like, exactly in that feel.
And I give it 7 because the concept is so damn good.
Yeah, conceptually.
But everything else pulls it down. The
Yeah.
music,
The art film kind of executions.
the when are we kind of question, and also all the questions that we raised after walking out of the theater.
Yeah, exactly.
What like, since the demon only goes after you after you've fucked somebody or had sex at least, what kind of sex are we talking here?
Yeah, what if you get like a hand job in like, the Denny's parking lot?
Yeah.
Does that count?
Does it count if the other if only you finish? Or what if the other person finishes and you don't? Do you have to keep going until you're done? Or do both of you have to do it? Is it a team effort here?
Yeah. Also, what if you go back and have sex with the person you already had sex with? Do you just give it back to him?
Just back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, what if she went and fucked Jeff again? Would it go after him again?
How would they know it? They traded it back. Like, would it just be like a thrust? Or well, I guess that could be answered because it'd be the most recent person in the line, so it'd still be the guy. They can't give it back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
no backseas.
No
It's just
backseas.
like an STD.
yeah, I don't know. It was a lot of weird stuff for sure. But also, why sex? Why is that the thing that moves it? That's such like a artistic thing, you know.
One thing I thought of
They're trying to,
after I realized that the monster thing
Yeah.
killed neighbor guy by, like, grinding on top of him,
Yeah.
I'm thinking that the thing is a succubus.
Oh, okay.
Or an incubus, whichever.
That makes sense.
Which the incubus is the male version.
Yeah.
You know.
That would make sense.
So that's what I thought. But then why did everyone else try to get bludgeoned to death? Like, the person in the beginning got a horrific torn apart.
Well,
Jay
you
almost
will-
got killed with a fucking TV to
Well,
the
you
head.
do die. It kills you.
And then Mark just instead got fucked to death.
True. It's weird. But, it's a good weird, so go watch it, folks. Anyway, Derek,
That's the highest rating I think you've given a movie. On
I
this,
believe
except
I
for
gave-
Pet Cemetery.
I gave that a 9.
So
For Judd. A 9 for Judd.
yes,
Now, Derek, what are we watching next week?
with the schedule. If we had done Funny Games, it would have been The Purge this week.
Okay. Is the next Purge movie? Wait. Oh, we're just going to watch The Purge?
Yeah. But I say
Anarchy?
let's just move all the movies down.
Okay.
So Funny Games for real this time.
No more funny business.
Yeah, no more
We're doing funny
business.
games this time.
We're gonna watch funny games and we're gonna have a funny time. I'm sure. Not
Okay.
really. It's kind of a creepy movie.
All right, then. I guess with that, join us next week for the continuation, hopefully, of our found footage. No,
Home
Invasion.
Even though this movie was not a home invasion film.
Technically, no. But any new movie we review first.
Yes.
Keep that in mind, folks.
Priorities, man.
Yes. So next week, join us for our continuation of the Home Invasion block.
Whether you like it or not.
All right, Scott, kill the feed.